World Cup Day 1. After years of preparation, billions of dollars invested, and fans waiting across the globe, the 2026 FIFA World Cup was finally here. And nobody expected the opening match to turn into one of the craziest games of the tournament. Inside the legendary Estadio Azteca, more than 80,000 fans packed the stands. The atmosphere was electric. Mexican flags filled the stadium. Every seat was occupied. Every fan knew they were witnessing history. Standing across from Mexico was South Africa. The matchup carried extra meaning. Back in 2010, South Africa hosted the World Cup and opened the tournament against Mexico. 16 years later, the two nations met once again to begin another World Cup journey. The referee checked his watch. The players took their final positions. One whistle later, the biggest sporting event on earth was officially underway. Mexico started aggressively. Within the opening minutes, they created their first dangerous opportunity. A powerful shot forced the goalkeeper into an excellent save. The crowd thought it was in. South Africa survived, but the warning signs were already there. Mexico controlled possession and kept pushing forward. Every attack seemed more dangerous than the last. Then it happened. Quiñones found space inside the box. One touch, one shot. Goal. The stadium exploded. The first goal of the entire 2026 FIFA World Cup belonged to Mexico. Most teams would slow down after taking the lead. Mexico did the opposite. They kept attacking. They kept pressing. They wanted more. Gutierrez became a constant threat down the field. His speed stretched the South African defense and created even more opportunities. Then Mexico nearly doubled the lead. A dangerous attack ended with a shot flying just inches wide of the post. South Africa had escaped once again, but the pressure was building. At halftime, Mexico led 1-0. The scoreline was close, but the game itself wasn't. Mexico had controlled the majority of the first half and looked confident heading into the locker room. The coaches told the story. Mexico's bench looked relaxed. South Africa's staff looked concerned. They knew something had to change. The second half began. South Africa needed a response. One goal could completely change the game, but instead of a comeback, frustration started taking over. The challenges became harder. The tackles became later. The match was becoming increasingly physical. Then disaster struck. A reckless challenge left the referee with no choice. Out came the red card. South Africa were down to 10 men, and suddenly their task became much harder. Playing Mexico is difficult. Playing Mexico at Azteca is even harder. Doing it with 10 players? Almost impossible. Mexico sensed weakness. Wave after wave of attacks crashed toward the South African goal. The pressure became relentless. Then came one of the best plays of the night. A perfect cross curled into the penalty area. It couldn't have been placed any better. Waiting at the end of it was Raúl Jiménez. He connected perfectly. The ball smashed into the back of the net. 2-0 Mexico. The stadium erupted again. For Jiménez, this goal meant more than just extending the lead. After years of injuries, setbacks, and hard work, he had finally scored his first World Cup goal. The emotion was impossible to hide. On the sideline, Coach Aguirre couldn't stop smiling. Everything was working. Mexico were dominating, and their dream start to the tournament was becoming reality. Meanwhile, South Africa looked defeated. Players walked with their heads down. The frustration continued to grow. Then came another costly mistake, another reckless challenge, another unnecessary foul. The referee reached into his pocket again. Another red card. South Africa were now down to 9 players. The match was completely slipping away. 9 players against 11. At the World Cup, against the host nation, the result was no longer in doubt. But the chaos wasn't finished. The final minutes became increasingly emotional. Players collided, tempers flared, everyone was exhausted. Then came one final twist, a third red card. The crowd couldn't believe what they were seeing. 3 red cards. In the opening match of the World Cup, South Africa simply wanted the final whistle. Nothing had gone right. It was a night to forget. Finally, the referee ended it. Mexico 2, South Africa 0. The statistics told the entire story. Mexico dominated possession, created more chances, controlled the tempo, and while South Africa received 2 red cards, Mexico also finished with 1. 3 red cards, 2 goals, 1 unforgettable opening match. As confetti fell from the sky, one thing became clear. The 2026 FIFA World Cup had officially arrived, and it arrived with drama. Fans around the world couldn't believe what they had just watched. Goals, red cards, chaos, the perfect opening night spectacle. Quiñones secured his place in history, the first goal scorer of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, a moment he will never forget. And for Raúl Jiménez, this night meant everything. After years of perseverance, he finally had his World Cup moment. 3 red cards, 2 goals, 1 unforgettable match. Nobody predicted that headline before kickoff. Mexico fans celebrated long after the final whistle. They knew their team had sent a message to the rest of the world. For South Africa, the focus immediately shifted toward recovery. The tournament is far from over, but the road just became much harder. And now attention turns to June 18th, Mexico versus South Korea, a match that could decide control of Group A. Can Mexico keep the momentum going, or will South Korea provide the first major upset of the tournament? We'll find out soon. If you enjoyed this World Cup breakdown, make sure to subscribe and follow Ascend for more match stories, tournament drama, and unforgettable moments from the 2026 FIFA World Cup. This is Ascend, we break it down, you enjoy the game. See you in the next one.